Hi, welcome back to a new episode of Shut Your Face. Yes, I have kind of changed some things around, but it's still just as cool. Anyhow, if you're not a member of our Patreon, what are you doing? It's really cool. So head over there and become a member so you can get early access. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast, and let us begin.
Hello.
Hi, Erin.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. It's Brianna. How are you?
I'm doing good. I can get on my front porch so I can get some better service real quick, and then I'll be
Did you get your goats up?
good to go. Yeah, it's those little turds.
What?
Mischievous little things. At least my
That
neighbors, they're in there
Go
just
ahead.
eating my neighbor's moms to death. Her little fall garden, I feel so bad. But they're back in now.
So they're your goats.
Yeah. So I'm responsible for that.
You're their mother.
Yes. I little
Well,
mini-
goats, they're actually expensive, aren't they? I mean, like people that do goat milk and the soap and all of that kind of stuff. Like somebody told me that they have goat sales and they can get up to like $25,000 for a goat.
Oh my God.
You didn't know
goats are
that?
not that expensive. But I'm sure there are. That's crazy to hear that actually. Maybe they're like registered like pedigree show goats or something.
Well,
Mine are just cheap ones. They're just little mutts.
I believe these people are friends of my family. We've known them for years, and we grew up doing like horses in 4-H and general 4-H, and they did horses and they turned around and did goats in 4-H, which leads you to all kinds of other things. But they said there was a goat that went for $25,000 at a sale.
Oh.
I don't believe it was 4-H related, obviously. It wasn't a show, but it was at a sale. And yeah, the money that you can make off of some of them goats is crazy.
That's better than horses because goat doesn't eat anything.
Right?
I need to start getting some more expensive goats.
That's what I told him. I said, I'm in the wrong business.
Right. I have never, but that's crazy. I have a neighbor that has my first question is what is the value after you sell it? Like, what are they doing with that goat? Breeding it?
Well, no, that's what I was just telling you. So goat milk is
they're doing the goat milk.
A luxury. You can make goat milk. They make soap with it. They make all kinds of different things from goat's milk, and then the meat too. And then they do breed them.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's just like horses. Horses have certain better bloodlines, worse bloodlines, mediocre bloodlines, and then et cetera. You get that out of that. So it's the same thing. You can get crazy with any industry.
Yeah, for real. I'm not at that stage. Mine are just kind of like here to eat. They just exist.
They're cheaper than lawnmowers.
They are. And they're small and cute, so they were just my little, I don't know, hobby, I guess.
Well, let me ask you, since we were talking about business, so you own Erin Rhea. Am I saying that right?
It's Erin Rhea, but it does look like Rhea. Mm-hmm.
It does look like Rhea. That's my bad. So Erin Rhea.
You're not the only person that thinks that. It's a misconception. It's okay.
How did that come about? I mean, like, did you just grow up around horses your entire life, or did you just wake up one day and go, I'm going to do show pads?
I've been doing horses since I was a kid. I didn't grow up with like a horse family. Both of my parents were teachers, but they put me in riding lessons when I was really young, and it was kind of like, I don't know, all downhill or all uphill from there, depending on how you look at it. But I've had horses in my life since I was a kid. And then I grew up and started working for some horse traders and some cowboys, and did a little bit of just riding, a little bit of everything. And when I was selling these horses online, I wanted to I don't know if you know, some of these really nice show pads out there before I started doing business were just way out of my price range, like $800 or more. And I'm like, that's insane. So I was looking for a way to have a middle ground between the really cheap ones and the really expensive ones. And I made a couple. I found a weaver, and I made a couple for like the horses we had for sale, and a couple for myself. And it kind of, I mean, honestly, it sounds crazy when I say this, but I kind of started it by accident. Like it wasn't. I went to school to be a teacher, so it wasn't like on my radar to be a business owner. But
Oh, wow.
after, I know, isn't that crazy? I was going to teach kindergarten. I was almost finished with school, but then after I put a couple of pads on Facebook that I didn't like, people started, asking, oh, they bought that one, and they're like, do you have any more? Can I buy? Do you have any more? Could you make this? Could you make that? And I was like, well, I can try. And then we kind of just started taking little orders on the side like that. And then after a few years, I just decided, like, I'm going to do this full time because I love it and we can do it. And it just kind of fell into place like that, I guess. There's lots of hard work with it as well, but it definitely wasn't like, okay, I'm going to graduate college and I'm going to start this business.
Well, you know what? That seems to be like some of the best endeavors for people are the things that just kind of like, I had a conversation with a girl literally the other day, and her best life is something that she just fell into. Kind of like what,
Wow.
like it wasn't your thing.
Yeah.
It ain't like you just woke up and said, I'm going to make sure it just happened.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
But it's taken off for you. You've done quite a lot. I mean, like I remember kind of seeing your stuff a couple of years ago, and I just thought, wow, this is really pretty. Because you are right. Show pads were very expensive, and they were like I don't want to say secluded, but they were like a rarity thing to find. You only had a handful of places to get them from.
If you can even find them, like they're like a secret luxury, I felt like. Like, where do you even find these? You have to know somebody who knows where to get them, and it's crazy. So there's so many, for me, it was like there's so many people who aren't absolutely filthy rich in the horse industry, and it was like, I want to sell to people who, want to have nice things but aren't necessarily the richest person in a show pen. And there's no reason, like, to me, that you can't have both a nice quality object or a product without paying $1,000 for it, because that's insane to me. I mean, more power to anyone if you want to spend that. I'm down for it, luxury item, like some luxury items, but to me, it's like you can only, if that was me, I'd have like one show pad for my whole life with my teacher salary I was going to have.
Well, no, you're right, because, I mean, it's nice to not only have yours at the quality and the price point that they are at, but you are right. Like, when it comes to, I mean, we both showed, we know people that show, we know how it is. You can't just have one outfit. Like, you know,
it's
I
like
mean, you have
one pair of shoes.
outfits.
I don't know any woman that has one pair of shoes, so show
Right.
pads is kind of how I feel. Like, you just, I need options.
I had a conversation with a girl, and I actually didn't know that she did this for, like, her name is Jessica Bloom, and she's really cool. She shows horses too, but she's a realtor, and she actually did interviews for, like, music, in the music industry.
Oh,
they had they had a thing. I had no idea she did it. I just, like, reached out, same thing with you. I was just like, yo, do you want to be on my podcast? You want to talk to me? And she's like, yeah. But anyway, you don't find out things about people unless you talk to them, whatever. So me and her get to talking, and she told me the same exact thing. She was like, imagine having to do it live. And I go, no. Because she did hers live.
Oh, I would absolutely flake. I can't help it. I don't know if it's ADHD or what, but the thought will just, maybe I'm just, the thoughts will just leave my brain as I'm talking. I don't know what I was saying.
I could get into a serious aspect of that. For me, I feel like it's the crap I've been through in life that has made my brain different.
Yes, you have a little trauma. We might be
trauma,
similar.
Yes. But I wanted to touch base on a particular highlight in your career.
Okay.
Because how long have you been in business, like officially or whatever you want to call it, like generalization?
I want to say since like 2018. How long ago was that?
6 years, 5 years?
Yeah. 5 or 6 years. That's when I That's when I decided, like, I want to make a Facebook, and I'll try to do this. I guess I didn't start, like, relying on it fully as my full-time job, maybe, like, 4 years, a couple years into it, and then I was like, okay, I can do this. But I started it, I guess, in 2018 when I was like, let's try. Let's see what we can do. And then it just kind of went from there, and I'm very, very fortunate and very grateful for it, for sure. And I definitely worked really hard. I say that it was an accident, but there's plenty of work that went into it that made it not an accident.
Right, sure. No, of course.
But yeah, about 5 or 6 years, I guess, would be a good estimate.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, it's very rare, like, you hear people of just, like, to me, I think it'd be stupid just to dive right into something. To me, I'm very much to get your feet wet, like what you just said. Like, okay, let's not make this full-time yet. Let's
Right.
just touch the water for a little bit and see what's up, you know.
Yep. And I didn't take out any, like, business loans or anything. I kind of just, like, built off of each sale and just invested a little bit each time after I sold something, and then kind of just snowballed on top of it. So it worked out nicely for me that way, just because starting a business is scary. I couldn't imagine taking out a big loan for something and not knowing how it'll perform in the future. But I know people do it all the time. So, well, it's just me. So, sorry, go ahead. I was just saying it's just me, so I just didn't have, it was just little old me starting this up. So I was just doing it the safest way I think I could have done it, and it worked out. I think it all worked out.
Well, I'm sitting here looking at your pad was actually the one that Bella Hadid rode in New York here recently. Is that correct?
Yes. I had no idea either. Oh my God, I was dying. So the morning, it's actually funny because one of my friends had sent me a TikTok of, I guess her boyfriend's name is Alan or Alon. Is that right? Or
no, I think it is a Dane. A Don?
A Dane. Okay.
Yeah.
So someone had sent me videos of him and was like, gosh, what if you could get him in one of your show pads? And I was like, yeah, that would be amazing. And then I scrolled a few more videos and I was like, oh my God, Bella's in my show pad. And I just was, I don't know, starstruck. I had no idea she had bought it. I didn't even know it was going to happen. And then I woke up Saturday morning and I was like, that's Bella Hadid in my pad. How is this possible? But it was awesome. I was starstruck, actually. It was amazing.
How cool is that, though? Like,
I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know. It's very cool. And I know, I'm looking at her picture, too. She matched her outfit to it, her chaps, her shirt, her hat. So I don't think it's like someone just threw that pad on there. I think it was a thought-out thing, girls don't just put saddle pads together and not match their outfit to it.
Not if they're riding in the middle of New York City, no.
No. Right. And she looked so good. I loved it. Blown away.
Yeah.
I was blown away.
Yeah,
sure.
I'm blown away for you, and it's not even my company or my pet. Like, I'm sitting here going, how I would feel. I'd be like, oh my God, I can't speak right now.
That's how I was. But it was just wild because that morning I was just like, yeah, it would be really cool if Bella was in my show pad. And then 2 swipes later, there she is.
Wow.
It was crazy. But I'm very excited.
Well,
I'm very grateful for her to have shown him that.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. And that whole event is a really cool thing, too, because it's like, bringing the country to the middle of the city like that is just cool as hell. I mean, who didn't like Urban Cowboy for Give Me a Break?
Right. And I read somewhere, she was just got done with, a fashion shoot before that, and then she just jumped right on the cutting horse, and I was like, yeah, that a girl. But it is so cool. You see all these people in New York City, probably have never seen stuff like that before.
I'll see for a minute. It's okay. We're glad this is alive.
Right. I haven't even moved from my seat, so I don't know how my service could just disappear, but it does that.
I don't know, but I do want to say this. Not that it matters, but to me, you and your company just earned massive cool points because I don't know if I told you this in Messenger or not, but I have tried to do an episode or just to talk to show pad people like this, a lot, I don't want to say a long list, but a good handful, and they flake out, they don't follow up, they don't do nothing, they don't say anything, and to me, I just think it's really cool that you took the time to speak to me. Not only that, but I could tell right now that if I wanted to buy a pad from you, I could buy it from you. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, it just is what happens. I've got messages with these people, you want to talk about your business and stuff like that, because there are, I feel quite a lot of them started to pop up, and I don't know if that is a hinder for you as a business to have to deal with that or not particular people, just in general. Because it was only a handful of places that you could get this from.
A lot of people, I've noticed that too. There'll be random people that kind of pop up to sell them, but I'll watch them, and they don't, it's plenty of room for everyone. There's like the competition. I welcome it. It's great because there's plenty of people to buy saddle pads. There's room for everyone. But I do notice that a lot of them, it takes a lot more work than you think it does, and a lot of people kind of fizzle out after a little while. They might decide it's not for them, and that's kind of the trend I see happening with some of them. Some make it. I've seen a few kind of do really well, but then some just kind of fizzle out because it might not be for them. I mean, it's a lot more than just, the customer service part is almost more than just designing nice saddle pads, So, it's not for everyone, but I do see it, and I don't, I don't mind the competition. There's plenty of room for everyone here, so everyone, I don't know what I'm trying to say. But I do kind of pop up out of nowhere.
No, I think it's what you just touched on a minute, and I can actually relate to this with what I do, which I do embroidery and apparel and awards. But you're right. Mm-hmm. People they see what you post, and you post all the time and sales. They see that you're active, and they think, oh, well, it must be easy, and then they actually dive into it, and it's not that easy.
Mm-mm. It's very time consuming. Right, you work 24/7. Like, you don't really get to turn it off when you go home. You're always working, whether you want to or not. At least I am. My brain's always working.
Yeah.
But I don't mind it because I'm working for myself, so it's beneficial for me. But that's one thing people don't realize with working for yourself is you don't clock out at 5 o'clock. You don't get to leave it at home. You don't get to leave it at work.
Right. Right. Which is a good thing. It's a good. I mean, it's a catch-22.
Mhm. Right. Mm-hmm. But now, I'd much rather work for myself.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead.
Now, I don't want to dive into business secrets, but do you get a lot of your inspiration from horse-related things, or just out of the whim? Like, do you just, like, I'm looking at this periwinkle one, which is gorgeous, by the way. Do you just kind of think, okay, well, I'm going to do something blue today, or do you just see something that kind of inspires you? Because there's an artistic perspective to these saddle pads. It's not like y'all just, like what you just said, you just don't go, okay, well, I'm just going to design a pad. You have to really put a lot of thought into this.
Right. That's a good question. So some of them I just randomly make, and then some of them are inspired by, most of them are inspired by something. There are some randoms that kind of just fell together, but like I have like the Taylor Swift inspired collection, which is like a saddle pad for each of her eras. If you're a Swiftie, you'll know. I have a ranch pad and a show pad for every era, which was like my favorite. I did those like 2 years ago when she first went on tour, and I was so excited to do that. I don't. Are you
Where are they? Whoa, I'm on your
on my website.
I'm a Taylor fan.
Okay, are you on your phone? Go to the right-hand side if you're on your phone, and it's like those 3 little bars, and it'll show you like a pull-down menu that'll say, you'll see Taylor Swift inspired.
Oh, no, let me go to your, yes, oh, I'm at it now. Oh, my God, I love this. Oh, see, this makes me want a horse.
I was so excited, because I don't know if you follow her, like, I haven't been to one of her concerts. I haven't been fortunate enough to be able to go, but I do watch her on, like, TikTok live when she performs, and she has each era, so each album is like an era of her life, and each set, she does all those eras on her tour, so like each set changes with each new album, and then she has different colors and outfits, and it's a totally different vibe for each era. So I was like, I need to do a ranch pad and a show pad for this, and it was like the quickest I think I've ever put anything together like this before in my life. But it was great.
You've got all of that. Look at that. You're right. Oh, okay, so now I see what you're saying. Okay, so you have a show pad, which is basically just, I don't want to say a blanket, but it's a pad without the underlining in it. But then you have a ranch pad, which has the extra support under the pad, right?
Almost. So both the ranch and the show pads are both just like a cover that you put over like your favorite under pad. But I do make I call them a performance pad, or like a 2-in-1, where we can sew in like an under pad to make it like an everyday pad, where you have a ranch top or show top, and then a contoured like felt or fleece like under pad. Those are starting to be some of my favorites. Just like one and done, you just throw them both on the back and they're ready to go.
Right.
I would have called them a work pad. Thank you so much.
I'm all about the reputation.
I think that would be my era if I was to go to her concert. You're supposed to dress up in like whichever era you're in. But I don't know which one would be mine. I
Mine
just
would
like
be
that album.
Reputation.
That's her best album, I think.
Yeah, the sass
Her
and the
best work.
well, you know what? I don't think I was like actually thinking about this last night. It's so cool that you're a Swiftie because I had no idea, but I really didn't become one until the last couple of years, and it's because
Really?
I actually started listening to her music, and it's so relatable. Like a lot of the stuff she's been through is so relatable. People go through the same stuff.
Mhm. If people who, in my opinion, this might make people mad, but if you don't like you're allowed to not like Taylor Swift, that's great. But like if you're not
Yeah.
actually listening to her music and you say you don't like her, it's like I know you're not listening to her music, because if you actually try to listen to it, you would find something that you relate to. Like even if it's not the song or the style of the song, the words she's saying, every woman at least can relate to this, I think.
Yeah.
In some stage, and like in my life, like her younger albums, like when I was that age, I related to everything she said growing up at that time. It's like I've grown up with her kind of, so if I haven't related to it yet, it's like, oh, I know I will soon because I relate to everything that she goes through. But
Well, these look good. These look really good, and I can
yeah.
tell kind of the similarity through the patterns, but the colors reflect the albums really good. Like this looks really great. That's cool as hell. And you've got a Harry Potter inspired. Oh, this is cool. I didn't know you had.
Yeah.
I'm not
And
going to
then
buy a horse.
sometimes
I'm not going to buy a horse.
hey, I'm making rugs now too. So if you see something you want in a rug style, we can make that also. That's a secret that's coming out very soon.
Oh, that is really cool because, oh, wow, that is really good. Congratulations. That's cool.
Yeah. Let me text you a picture of a rug so you see what it looks like.
Yeah, you're going to have to
Can I
show me
text
rugs.
this
And
number?
then for some reason I see bags in your future too.
I've thought about bags. I've one step at a time, but I kind of want to expand a little bit to some newer. The rugs are the next step, and maybe we'll try out some bags, maybe some English saddle pads one day. Would love to do some English stuff too.
That is really cool that you just brought up English because you just made me think about something because, you know, I've talked a lot about the new ranch discipline and how ranch has really kind of, I don't want to say, well, it's just more of a laid-back environment versus like, well, you know what I'm saying. I grew up pleasure, pleasure and hunt seat and those types of environments that the horse world was. I don't want to say it was really strict, but it was very, it was kind of
different.
strict. Like you just, it was, and you just had to look a certain way, look a certain part, and do that kind of stuff. So it's cool that ranches kind of allow people to be a little more laid back. It's still competitive, but it's laid back as far as attire is concerned. And I think it's cool that you just brought that up because English has always kind of been, which I guess they want to hold on to their traditions, but has kind of been very strict as well. It'd be cool if you could add some color to that.
Right. Yes. I know English is, if you come from the Western pleasure world, you're like, English is boring. What do you mean you're wearing black and blue? Like, that's all you can wear. But, yeah, I would love, even if you don't wear them in a show, like, just fun, a matching bonnet with an English saddle pad, maybe some matching polos, Fred Home or something, trail riding. That'd be so cute. And I do have a lot of English riders that are like, can you just make this ranch pad in, like, English dimensions? And I'm like, I guess I could. I don't know how that would work, but we could try it. But yeah, I think English riders deserve some fun in their outfits too.
Absolutely. Well, you just made me think about something. What's one of the craziest requests that you've gotten for a pad?
That's a good
or
question.
fun. What's the most, not crazy, what's the coolest, like, most different kind of request that you've gotten for a pad?
One time I like wove in some skulls into a ranch pad, which was kind of different and cool. Some just like a sugar. It was our first try, so it looked pretty good. But I would like to do that a little bit more and like perfect it a little bit. But I do think my favorite type of custom work for people is like a lot of times people are just like, here's what I have to wear, here's the colors, here's my horse, make me what you want, what you would like. And I'm like, okay, say less, I can do that. And people just give me creative freedom to do, and they're like, yes, whatever you like, I'm sure I'm going to like it. I'm like, you're my favorite types of customers.
Right.
But some people, I do work with other people too that they have a very specific thing in mind, and sometimes those pads, the ones that I make that it's like, this isn't my style, but, you know, this person likes it, and it's like I'll do something similar to that in the future, and it's like, okay, well, not everything that I like has to be, you know, just because I don't love it doesn't mean someone else won't love it. And that's one thing I've definitely learned with all this is just like people have different styles and you have to try different stuff. And doing customs is a great way for me to like get out of my brain and my style and, you know, kind of, I don't know, extend my abilities a little bit to try something new. I love some custom work.
Well, it is, you know what, that is kind of weird. It's hard to do. I can relate to what you're saying because, you know, even though I may not like it, you still have to do it to where the other person's going to like it. And that's an ability that you need to be able to work for yourself is to separate that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's definitely something I work on. And I've learned through each one, like, okay, well, I didn't love this, but through this process, I found things that I did love, and I'm going to use these pieces that I like for something else in the future. So I definitely always try to just accommodate whatever crazy stuff people want. I'm trying my best. So I think one time I've had someone ask for like a circular saddle pad, like not a square, and that's like the only thing I can't do is make it in a circle.
Really?
But I mean, you feel like we should, but I don't know. My weaver's like, I don't want to do that. Can we do a rectangle? It won't turn out good, is what they say. Okay.
Well, no. I mean, I agree. No, I'm wondering why they would ask you for it in a circle to be a rug. Because you can't. Why would you? How would you put that on a horse?
I don't know. I think it was because they had a round skirted saddle, maybe, and they wanted all the roundness, maybe. Oh, my dog. I don't know, but I've never been able to accommodate that request yet. Maybe in the future we can figure it out.
That's different. I would never expect that somebody would ask you that.
Mhm.
So what is a typical day for you as a show pad business owner?
Really isn't a typical day. It's kind of different every day. Everything's different, but like on a regular like average work day, I guess we would I have two girls that help me. One helps me with like my secretary work and another helps me with shipping and like social media. So Taylor helps me with shipping. So she would come if we had a bunch to send out, and she'll ship some saddle pads out for me. And then sometimes we make some content. Sometimes we just take some pictures. She's real young and cute and pretty, so I like, hey, put this shirt on. Let's go outside and take some pictures with this shirt and the saddle pad. And she'll do about whatever I ask her to. So content and shipping stuff is kind of our like priorities during the week. And then sometimes we go to events, and that'll be a whole different priority of things to do. But mostly it's just kind of the daily stuff. And then I always I'm trying to always create something new all the time. So I do try to sit down and like have creative days, or if I'm feeling really creative on a specific day that I wasn't planning on it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit with this until I don't feel it anymore. And I'm going to push everything aside because while the creative juices are here, you got to take advantage of it. And those days I try to, when I have days like that, I guess you say like the muse is there. It's like, I'm going to work until I can't work anymore, because that's when I make my best stuff. Is just, it all just flies out. And I try to have a week. I mean, it's nice to have those every week, but sometimes you don't. But I do try to have a day a week to make something. Got to do something creative. Mm-hmm. And then we just work on posting on social media and keeping content consistent, which is a daily job. So there's that as well.
That is a daily job. I don't think people realize how much effort and work it takes to deal with social media.
Yes, it's a lot. To have new content, even if it's just photos, something new to put every day is, like I have 14,000 pictures on my phone. Like I gotta have something to put.
Holy cow! Hold on, you make me want to count mine. How many do I have?
That's not an exaggeration.
Oh, wow.
I have more pictures of saddle pads and other people's horses than I do like my own life on my phone.
Tell me you work for yourself without telling me you work for yourself.
That's right. Like, whose horses are these? These are my customers' horses. They're just looking good in my phone.
Well, that leads me to my next question. Do you currently show? I know you said you grew up since a young age showing and around horses, obviously, but do you still show now?
Right now, I'm not showing at all. I had recently, 2 years ago, I had bought a horse thinking I was trying to get back started. I wanted to start some ranch riding a little bit, just like open show, just like fun stuff. And I bought a horse off a sale. It was kind of depressing. But and I bought him, and he was perfect. He had everything I wanted. He's like triple registered and this big 16-hand buckskin gelding. And I got him home. I bought him online, which was probably you can buy good horses online. I just had a bad experience because when I got him home, he was crippled and had a torn suspensory ligament on his front leg, and he's completely unrideable now. So
Oh, no.
I've had him for 2 years, just trying to see if we could fix what we have going on, which we cannot. I mean, we can help him be more comfortable, but there's no fixing it. So we're currently, all that to say, like, I'm currently in the market for another horse if I ever find one that kind of pops into my life at the right time. I kind of burnt out with, like, shopping for them, so I'm like, I'm just going to let it go, and then when the universe decides it's time for me to have the horse, it'll bring it into my life for me. Let go of the expectation of shopping for one so much, and hopefully I'll find one. Find another.
You know, it takes finding stuff online like that is so weird because it's like you can't trust people, and it sucks, but it is what it is. And then, like, being me on the other end of it, I've had people just reach out to me, and you can tell that they don't trust, not necessarily me, but just a business that's online, and you're like, you've got bad apples that ruin it for the good people. Now we have to deal with people's, worries and things like that, which is cool, but that's why, like what you just
that's
said,
exactly
situations
why.
like that.
Well, and it's even crazier because I bought him through the sale in Ocala, like in the Ocala, Florida Horse Center, like that fancy, really nice place. And
really?
He went through the pen sound. He was advertised as sound, and the problem is my hauler, I guess, I could have probably, like, sent him back once I got him home, but I didn't get him home from my hauler for, like, days after. So that window you have to, like, reject them, I missed it. So, which is okay. I mean, I love Charlie. I'm glad he's here. He's meant to be in my life, but there's definitely
that's sleazy.
It's just hard. And then, like, I understand, like, I used to sell horses, so I understand what you said, like, people being hesitant and, like, worried and thinking they're going to get, and I get it now. Like, I am that person now. Like, I used to not laugh, but when people want to do a vet check, I was like, vet check when I was selling them. And now I'm like, I want to vet check anything. I don't care how anyone feels about it. Like, I'm not going to invest as much money in something and not do that. And I guess it maybe was a learning experience for me. It's probably really good for me to go through that so I can understand the other side of it all better. Because I had never really bought one through an auction like that either. I'd always kind of bought them from a friend or somebody, So that was my first time bidding on one and winning the bid.
Right.
Also.
Right.
So
that is a kind of scarring experience, though. I totally get it because I didn't have a bad experience with buying one. I had a bad experience selling one. This girl, literally, we had a first right of refusal. The whole agreement was she was going to take him and see if she could help him. And he was the only horse I had. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm working a lot. This will be cool. Me and her can stay in touch. It shouldn't be a problem. I don't buy and sell horses like that. It's not my thing. Like the ones we have are buried on this land. So anyways, as soon as she bought him and left out of here, I had a feeling anyways, as soon as she left out of here, she posted something on there like welcoming him. And I was like, oh, my God, he looks good, like being really nice. Blocked, ignored me, wouldn't speak to me, blah, 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 blah. I knew exactly what she was doing. She was going to try to flip him. Yeah, she was going to try to flip him, and she was trying to lie about how the situation went down. She watched me cry as this horse left, okay? Like, this is how shitty of a girl is this.
Yeah.
And she was friends of people that I was doing business with. This wasn't a random
horse
stranger.
trader, wasn't she? Is that her job?
No. She wasn't a horse trader.
Not her
She was
job?
a dumb bitch. That's what she was. So I ended up taking her to South Carolina Magistrate Court where because I'm going to tell you why, actually, now that I have the opportunity to talk about this. The reason why I did that is for the sheer point of it. Because, like, here's the thing. If you're going to try to make me out to be a bad person, you might want to have sufficient evidence to do so. And she didn't. And it really hurt me because he was not something that was going to be ridden or shown or anything like that. He was basically a pet. I just buried my 30-year-old mare that I raised. Our family raised her from when she was around till she was 30. And he was something that was comforting. And I was trusting her to kind of just deal with him and play with him, give him some time and stuff, and we could keep in touch. And if it didn't work out, I could bring him back. That was the whole objective, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that she just tried to do me dirty when she was friends of friends of friends with people that were buying from me, it just really
How was
set me
she
off.
able? I'm so sorry that happened. That's like,
Well, the magistrate basically told her I screwed up when I took her to court before she after she took him off of for out of the market. Anyway, long story short, we get to the magistrate court. He basically tells her, he goes, look, the verbal contract is intact. You cannot sell him, okay? But since you're not got him for sale now, we're going to dismiss it. So she took him off the market before we got to court. So, which is a good thing for me, because basically now where it sits, if she ever tries to sell him again, and if she succeeds in it, and I find out, I can sue her, and I can take her to district court, which is worse than small claims. So,
yeah, as you should.
Well, yeah, but it's like just going back to, I mean, I didn't mean to, you could tell I didn't hold that in, right?
Tell me.
You have to deal with dumbasses like that, man, in the horse world, like the person with you. Like,
unfortunately, they're everywhere. It's scary, actually.
Well, how did he
Very
walk
scary.
through sound and then come out? How did that happen?
That's what I'm saying. I think he just was on some really good drugs. It's probably my fault because he loped him more than he trotted him, and that should have been maybe like the first red flag. But I was just like, God, look at his lope. That SOB can lope, you know. And I was not thinking about him not trotting him. And you know, I guess horses are more sound at the lope than they are anything else. So, and I think he was drugged up because he definitely, the longer he was with me, I don't know what they have on him to help the pain that much, but the longer he was with me, like the more he progressively got way worse. And I mean, he's had injections. We've done everything. It's just that leg. Had the person that had him when it happened rehabbed him properly, and I think they just stuck him in a stall for 6 months to a year. Like, had they actually done anything else other than that, I think, because I've had a horse the same thing on his front leg, to the same suspensory or whichever ligament it is, and that horse is fine now. I never even know it. But this one, it's like his pastern and his fetlock is dropped so far to the ground because he has no support. I don't know the technical names of all these tendons and stuff, but the one that goes on the back of their like cannon bone. Yeah. They got him sound enough to get him through the sale, and he's you know, he's 15 at the time. He's been shown his whole life he's just a good old boy. So I think they just took him through real quick and got what they got, and I could afford them at the time because horses are so expensive now. So I was thinking like, yeah, this is the most I've ever paid for a horse, but also like not the most. No, it is the most I've ever paid for a horse. I don't know where I was going with that.
I'm so sorry they did that to you.
It's crazy. And like you were just telling me like the same thing about your horse, like you gave him or her to someone else to like keep, and I've been like going back and forth on what to do with him because he is in pain 24/7 no matter what. And I'm like, well, like I hate to put down a horse that's mentally seems happier now, but he is physically hurting every day. Like it just hurts me because it's like these people, to me, my resentment's like, had this person rehabbed him, he would have such a great life still. But like they just use him like a motorcycle, in my opinion. And then like you can't. This is where I hold stuff. You can't like hold.
Let it out, girl.
To be professional athletes and stuff, and show them and use them, and not maintain them or give them anything back. It's like my biggest pet peeve. Besides like starting horses as 2-year-olds and riding them until they're 10 and then they're crippled, but like we just, a lot of people in general are not, in my opinion, taking enough maintenance and care of their show animal or their animals in general. But like this guy has so many points on him. I know he's just been shown to death, and you know, he has arthritis in all of his legs and all across. He's got it everywhere. He's just pitiful. But it makes me sad because no one maintained him or took care of him. And it's like, I wanted to do that for him. I want to help him, but there's nothing I can do at this point besides just keep him as comfortable as I can.
Well, that's like I had a conversation with a girl that we were talking about her sister or somebody, they had an older horse or whatever. And, you know, basically he was just going to get worse. Basically, he was in pain. Even though he was living a good life, he was fine. It wasn't that big of a deal. But sometimes you have to take yourself out of the equation. Mm-hmm. And she was kind of, I don't want to say the same boat, but she was in a difficult spot. Like, you know, you're going to have people that criticize you for deciding to put the horse out of their misery, and then you're going to have people criticizing you for you're keeping it in their misery. You know, like there's no win in that perspective. Mm-hmm. And the poor girl made the decision to let him go, and I could not have been more like heart touched about it, because I know how it is to have to make that decision, and it sucks. But you're
It's
actually doing it for the betterment of the horse. You really are.
Yeah. And
You don't want to see your
my
animal in
mind,
pain.
no. And my mind was like, let's let him get through the summer, and then when it gets cold, we'll make a decision, which I know my decision. I'm just struggling with the emotional part of it still, but I've had, like, you're my second sign that my decision's right. I had, like, one day I was struggling with it, and somebody put a post up on Facebook, and it was, like, the first post I came up to, and it was all about, like, letting them go on a good day versus letting them go when they're struggling. When I was like, there's my sign right there. And then, you know, I'd also considered, like, maybe I could just find him a home where someone else can take care of him and this and that. And I'm like, no, I don't know. I don't have a single person I could trust to do that. Like, even like you said, with a verbal agreement, you still can't trust people to take care of your stuff as good as you do. So I think that was my second sign.
No, it's okay. I'm really glad we're talking about this. You make me feel better talking about this because I'm actually, like, getting emotional because it's like people don't understand how hard of a decision that is. Like, when you care a lot, like, I'm just sitting here thinking about the ones I've had to make before. Like, even I told you my mare of 30 years, we had to lay. She actually got, you know, we've been in this barn in this little situation her whole life. She's never gotten stall locked before. And it was one of those signs, you know, I knew she was getting older, and she was up for the night, let him out in the day, up at night, we go into the stall. She's done whipped herself ragged, sitting there all night trying to get up. Apparently she done got locked down. And it was one of those decisions where you're like, okay, we have to do this now. And to say me and my family mourned her for like a couple of weeks is an understatement. But, you know, it's not.
Bless your heart. That's so hard for anyone. But you did the right thing, for sure.
Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, I'm relating to what you're saying. Like, it's a hard decision, and it's okay to be very emotional about it because you give a shit. Some people don't care. The people that sold that horse to you don't give a shit. They don't care.
They don't.
And you do.
It's a commodity to a lot of people.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I care a lot, almost too much sometimes. It can be like a blessing and a curse in this world.
Well, I know you'll make the right decision because you obviously care enough to do that. You know, it's just different, like, people that don't care. But we ain't trying to get sad. I did that the other day where we got all emotional.
That's okay. We can change the subject. I don't know how we even got here.
Yeah, we'll change the subject, of course. We're talking about horses and show pads. But
good thing.
So actually, that's a good idea. What do you think? I try to ask people this. What do you think about the whole Yellowstone ordeal? What do you think that has done for the industry? Do you think it has helped it or hurt it? Or
I think it's been great. I don't know why the horse prices have skyrocketed in the last, like, 5, 6, 10 years, but I think maybe that has something to do with it. Like, I think Yellowstone has brought for number one, I think they have done an amazing job with the horse part of it. Like, I know if you're a horse person and you watch horse movies and you're just like, all I can do is pick apart every inaccuracy that they do in the horse movies. Like, that would never happen. That horse would never make that noise right there. Like, that saddle doesn't fit. That saddle wouldn't go. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like OCD like that maybe, but I have never been able to pick apart anything in there because they have a real cowboy or horse people, like, doing the horse parts of the show, which I love, but it's also pretty badass. So I think it's got a lot of people, like, it's like the Sons of Anarchy, but it's like for horses, and it's got people, instead of wanting to buy a motorcycle, I think people just maybe want to buy a horse or try this horse thing out. Maybe.
Well,
I don't actually
did you know that though?
Know what?
Taylor Sheridan worked.
He did Sons of Anarchy. Yeah.
I knew that. I thought I was the only one to do that.
Yeah, well, you can almost see the similarities in the plot also, which is kind of crazy to me. Like, they just substituted motorcycles for horses for a few episodes or a few seasons.
Oh my God, I thought the same thing.
Thought the same thing.
Beth is like your Gemma.
Yep. And then, like, both of the sons get kidnapped or taken or whatever, and they all have to get, like, it's very similar.
Yes. Who do you think oh my God, I'm so glad you brought this up. Tara. Who do you think is Tara though? That's who I couldn't figure out.
I don't know, because she's a badass too.
Tara,
I don't want to say Monica because she's not quite as feisty as Kara, but I don't know, maybe Beth's badass enough to be both of them.
Well, yeah, because I kept kind of curling around because I actually was going to make a post about it because somebody said something to me. I was like, y'all growing up on Yellowstone, we grew up on Sons of Anarchy because
Right.
Gemma would just shoot your ass. She wouldn't run
Right.
around.
Right. She ain't got time for that. I love
But
Gemma.
I do too, but the plot twist at the end of that series had me on a chokehold. I was like,
Yeah. Why? Yeah.
She killed Tara. I liked Tara more than Gemma, though, at the end of the day.
I did too. Tara seemed, I don't know, she's real. She seemed like,
Yeah.
actually, I'd want to hang out with her if she wasn't a celebrity. Like, I feel like she's a real person.
Right.
I don't know how
right.
I feel like that, but I just do.
Yeah.
Just make random
Yeah.
assumptions off of my gut feelings.
That's so crazy that you brought that up because I've been thinking this stuff for a minute. And Jax, I couldn't figure out who Jax was, but I never watched Yellowstone, so.
Oh, I think he's Rip. I don't know.
Well,
Jax is like the leader, but he's all, I don't know. I haven't watched Sons of Anarchy in a while. I might be like, refresh myself on it. But Jax is, I don't know. He's either, sorry, what is it?
Well, that show took a run. I mean, they were on for 7 years, I think.
Yeah, I don't think I even finished it fully because I got like a little bored of it after a while. The first couple seasons, though, I loved.
Yeah.
Then
That's always
it gets a little too violent. Like, I love Yellowstone, too, but I don't love watching so much violence all the time. I like the horse part of it and the drama part, but I don't really care to watch people get killed and stuff.
Yeah. Somebody else brought up kind of that. They said, I did an episode with a guy, he's into cutting horses, and he made a good point. He's like, there's a lot of, like, very foul language. Like, it's one thing to kind of say, damn, or, you know, like, just generally say, oh, you know, damn it, or shit, or something like that. Like, if you've not heard those two words and you're around horses, you've not really been around horses then, if that's
right.
the case. But, like, to get really vulgar, he said the language is just really vulgar, and that's not a really good depiction of ranch life, I guess.
Yeah. They are. It's just, you can tell it's written by a man. That's what I always say. This is written by a man, isn't it? I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I generally say. Like, or you can tell when a woman is written by a man too. Like, it's very obvious to me.
True.
It's my life advice to anyone.
I've been divorced. I've been married and divorced too, so it's trust me. I feel like you are very obviously self-sufficient. You're obviously got common sense. You know how to run a bit. You're doing a successful business. I feel like you're going to be okay. You know.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate that.
But it does suck because I don't know if maybe and I can kind of edit this, roll into this, but like horse girls, I don't want to say we're perfectionists, but I feel like we strive to do, we strive to do the best that we can because we grew up being judged by somebody else.
Right. We paid for that privilege.
Right. And so,
worked our whole life for that.
Yeah, I think that helps us navigate life, though. For me, it has because, like, even, you know, like saying that you're divorced, I've learned to get past the whole fact that it was a failure and looked at it as more of a win because I get one life and I want to make sure that I am the best that I can be. So that's not necessarily a failure or a bad thing. At the time it is. At the time all of it feels really bad.
It feels like it, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's really a lesson, like a life lesson you needed to get where you are, I think. That's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, a stepping stone.
Like I don't regret anything and I'm thankful for the lessons I learned through that relationship, and I do think I really needed that relationship in my life to teach me a lot. And I'm just, now we've kind of grown apart, and it's just kind of the sad truth of that. But it's okay. We're not on unfriendly terms or anything. I mean, he might be a little sour still, but it's just because I decided to leave. But like I said, we're still friendly, and it's not. I'm sure he'll be fine eventually. Once he realizes how much we did grow apart, he'll grow up and be like, yeah, she was right, I think. Hopefully, maybe not, but he'll probably never listen to this anyway. So if you want to post it, you definitely can still, you don't have to edit it out.
Are you very intuitive?
I sometimes think I am. I like to think I am.
I am. I'll lead off with my intuition before. You could show me all types of proof and this and that, but if my gut tells me one thing about something, I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with it every day of the week.
I'm learning to trust my gut a lot more. I have actually like ignored it too much, kind of like gaslighting myself. And had I, after time goes by, had I listened to it, I'd be in a different place. Like, yeah, you need to listen to that. It's telling you something. And I'm getting to where I'm better at trusting myself. But it is
It's
nice
hard to
like,
do it though.
Mhm. It is. It can be. It is for me sometimes. I still work with it, but now I'm getting to where like if I get that feeling strong enough, I'm like something's going on. I don't need to do this, or I do need to do this, but I can feel that my gut's telling me something.
Yeah, because I feel the same way. Like when I was in, I used to have an office. Like I used to not do embroidery and apparel. I used to do print graphics, and I had an office in Rainsville. I had people working for me and all kinds of stuff. And I moved to Atlanta to go into business with a good customer of mine. And when I got there, she left me like a week later and tried to pin all kinds of stuff on me. It was a really it was a hard time in my life. Yeah.
So sorry.
That's when, well, that was my first lesson in listening to my gut.
Your gut.
And if I had listened to my gut, that probably wouldn't have happened. But it's one of those things where it's just like, I don't know, it's just like you can choose to look at things that happen to you and go, oh my God, this is so horrible, blah, blah, blah. Or you can look at it and go, you know what, that's the best thing that ever happened to me, actually. Thank you.
Yes, that's how I try to be. Like you said, in the moment, you're like, oh, why is this happening? But once you get that clarity, it's like, that needed to happen. It needed to happen that way, so I would do what I did and learn what I learned. And maybe that lesson wouldn't have been learned if you had to learn it a softer way or a more gentle way or a less, like hurtful way. But the lessons we learn hopefully you learn your lessons and then you don't have to like repeat the same mistakes throughout your life.
Right,
but
right. Or you think you do.
Yeah. Like some of the worst relationships I've ever been in have brought me to some really great things in the end. So it's like, yeah, that sucks, but I'm glad it happened,
Yeah.
Even though it sucked.
Now, what is your
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. What is your favorite discipline? What is your favorite way to ride?
If I could do anything, I would be a cutter for sure. Like I never really have shown in cutting, but I used to lope for some cutters and like got just enough feel of it to get addicted to it. And if I had the horse and I had the money and the time, I'd be cutting. I grew up like Western pleasure, and I did some hunt seat and some Western pleasure, but the cow horse and the cutting stuff is like where my heart is at.
Yeah.
Even though I don't actually there's not a lot of the cow horse stuff is kind of coming back a little bit, but for a while there was really not a lot going around locally. Like now they're trying to get some sortings going more, I think, and which is exciting.
Yeah, because you're near me. You're not far from me. I'm outside of Greensboro.
Oh, yeah, we're neighbors.
Yeah, you're right, though. There's not a lot, cutting-wise, cow horse-wise, any of that type of related stuff in North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina. Like, you've got to travel.
Mm-hmm. Or you got to know somebody who knows somebody. Like, it's just it's a lot. But, yeah, if I had the ability to do that, that's what I would do right now. Or just cow horse stuff. I just love a nice, broke, ranchy cow horse.
I think it's cool. I've talked about it quite a lot with other people, and I think it's cool to see. I think people like to see the horse do kind of what it's more supposed to do. Like that actual job is to handle cows. And sometimes when you see some of the stuff, like me and you, we did pleasure for what? Like, why did we go slow?
Right. Right.
Not that it's not hard. It's fun.
It is. It's hard. Like, it's funny. Like, you have to understand the discipline to know how, like, hard it is. But for the outside people watching you, it's like, trust me, they're supposed to move like that. This is good.
Right.
That's what you want. And after doing that enough, I was like, maybe I don't want to do this anymore. Maybe try something else. People were like, is he limping? And it's like, no, he's not. He's sound. He's supposed to move like that.
It's funny you say that because I remember all that kind of hoopla on the internet with I don't know if pleasure people got it as bad as Rainers did, but Rainers got it real bad with like their head's too low, and everybody's like, it's supposed to be that way.
Tell me you know nothing without telling me you know nothing. But I would love to see the Western industry like move it out a little bit. Like even though I love a good pleasure horse that can carry itself, like the ranch riding has been the best thing for a lot of these pleasure horses that kind of can't compete, you know, like if they can't do that super slow, push them out. Let's do some ranch.
You are right, though. I didn't think about it like that. You are right. It has given an avenue, and which might be why a lot of pleasure people, I've run across a lot of TikToks, I don't know if you have either, and posts where girls are literally going, you know what, I'm never going back to pleasure. I'm never going back. We're going ranch. Because, for one, it's not just a ribbon, okay? You've got a $3,000 jacket and vest on for a ribbon, all right? And then in ranch, you could win some money. It's a little more laid back. It still is competitive, and then you have more areas to show or exhibit different things that your horse can do besides the slow lope, which it's still hard. I trained mine. It's hard to get them to do that. It's hard work.
Even the most natural, talented horse is still an effort to make them lope like that. Like, you can have all the talent in the world, but at the end of the day, like, you still have to ask them to do it, you know?
Do you think that's
horses,
why?
I love it. Why? Sorry.
Do you think that's why people are kind of migrating to ranch because of that aspect of it, or why?
I would say it's a lot easier to, like, maintain a horse in training if we're, like, an amateur who isn't really, like, riding it every day. It's probably a lot easier for them to get that horse around the ring versus, like, a pleasure horse that you have to hold together the whole time. Or if you have a nice one, you don't have to hold together. But, like, to me, I'm just excited to see horses, like, move more natural, and you can get them out and get them moving and see a horse be more horse-like. Like, I believe pleasure horses are natural when they're bred that way and stuff, but still, like, I don't know, like, they're moving. If you go to do Western pleasure and then you go in a ranch class and you're out there trotting and everyone's passing you and you already think you're, like, too fast, I'm like, God, you gotta look at it.
Right.
But it's so much easier because you're not worried about, you know, quite as many things. You just want your horse to present himself nicely. And, you know, your headset doesn't have to be so low. You don't have to have such controlled movements. I love it. It's very good, I think, for the Western pleasure industry in itself, even though it's still thriving, I think.
Yeah, true. Now, what do you think about, what do you see yourself showing, even though you may not get into cutting horses, do you see yourself showing at all in the future? Or are you going to think about maybe buying another horse?
Yeah, I do want to do some ranch stuff. If I can't get into cutting like I want, I'm definitely going to try. That was my goal for Charlie, the horse I have now, is just to do some ranch riding with him, and that's what I ideally want to do if I can find another horse. So, like, I'm in the market for one. I'm just waiting for, like, I guess the perfect one to show up because I have to check all the boxes now that I've been a little burned. So I'm doing a little more homework on the next one. So whenever I see one, yeah, right. So hopefully I'll find one. And now, like I said, I've been looking for one forever. So I'm just trying to, like, they say, like, once you stop looking for something is when it shows up in your life. Like, once you stop wanting it so badly. So I'm trying to just let go of the expectation, and then maybe one will show up.
You
That's
are
what
so right.
Got to quit looking so hard so it can find me. So that's when stuff just pops into your life.
That is true, though. Like the universe, like you mentioned the universe earlier. Like, I'm funny about that stuff, too. I'm like, okay, you know what? We'll just give it to the universe.
Yeah.
And it'll bring it to me. But
Yes, I hope so. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping the horse prices come down a little bit, too, maybe, for the next one.
I think they are.
They are a little bit, aren't they? I've noticed maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're going to continue to come down a little bit because the hype is not what it was in Yellowstone's prime. I think that did a lot for the industry, and I think we're going to feel it. I think we're going to feel it here in the future.
Depending on this election, for sure. We're going to feel it one way or the other.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, God, let's not get into politics.
We don't have to talk about that now. But I'm hoping it'll settle down here with whatever happens. I miss the days when I could buy one. Like, I just used to buy them with these, you know, horse traders, and I would see how much they gave for them. So I'm like, okay. And then I have to buy one, like, on your own without somebody in your corner, and you're like, good God, why? Why is this going for $150,000? Like, this is insane. It's great for sellers, like, more power too if you've got the horses to sell, but I don't know. I'm sad about how much it costs to buy one now.
Do you think that, like what we just said with show pads, or even with embroidery, with anything that anybody does, once people see that there's a profit to be made, people get greedy? Do you think, like, the industry just got a bunch of horse people that didn't know what they were doing, trying to sell them and stuff?
It's possible. It's possible greed just got in there, too. sometimes I think, you don't have to include this, but sometimes I think this horse trading stuff is like laundering money. Like I feel like some of these guys are laundering money or something because I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. Like how are there so much? Like, I don't know. I can't understand it completely, so I'm like making up things and why it would make sense to me.
That is very true that you just said that. Wow, God's green earth would somebody pay $150,000 for a embryo or a horse that isn't like a race horse, that isn't like something that's going to be a return.
Something that you can't, like, it's like a truck or a car. Like as soon as you buy it, it's going to devalue.
Depreciate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, depreciate. And like some of these horses, like I've just watched some crazy stuff happen being at events. Like we went up to the trail horse sale in Lexington, and like one of the horses I really liked and I watched go around all weekend, sold for like 100 or more. Wasn't registered. It was a gelding. It was just like a gypsy vanner with a beautiful mane and tail, and it wasn't. I mean, it was nice. It was broke, but it wasn't like show broke. It was just like trail horse broke. And I'm like, what? What do you can't breed it. You can't do anything with it. If it hurts its leg, I mean, I love these animals, and it sounds like I'm talking about them like they're a commodity, but like this horse has no value if it gets hurt next week. Like, well, are you just rich and you can afford that? Or let me know your secrets so I can get there.
That is very true. I have never thought about this until you just brought this up. Like, why? I mean, I just thought that they were rich.
Yeah, you got to be, I guess. Doesn't matter if they lose that money, I guess, but.
Well, because it wouldn't be an expense, right? It wouldn't be an expense.
I mean, if you're rich, right? And I guess it doesn't matter. It's probably a write-off for some rich people.
No, but it can't be. It can't be unless you are in the horse business buying a horse.
Yeah.
It can't be considered an expense. Or maybe they just
low. I don't know. I can't wrap my mind around it.
We don't know, but
like, my gut is hurt just from losing the money. Like I did not spend anywhere close to that for my horse, and my, like now I'm like, I think I'm only going to buy mares from now on. Because if my mare goes lame, at least she has like a future to her for some type of value, besides being a pet to someone. But like, you can't give Charlie away because he's a gelding and he's lame, and what can he do besides look pretty? Sad about a lot of animals, unfortunately.
Well, I hate that happened to you too. I hate that you had a bad experience. You obviously didn't deserve it, but too, you obviously, I'm glad that you care about him, but it does kind of put you now in a predicament where you're like, okay, you're obviously going to make the right decision for yourself, and you're going to make the right decision for him too. So, but I hate that you have to go through that. No, it sucks to have to be in that spot.
It is pretty crazy. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Ooh, I mean, it's been a learning experience too, so it's not the end of the world, but it is like frustrating, I guess, for sure. And it's real frustrating because I'm like, I just want to ride. It's like the most beautiful weather. Like I just want to ride. I just want to go riding. And now it's the perfect season of the year, and we're just chilling. We'll get there.
It's okay. When the universe says it's time, it is time.
I'll be ready for it. I'm here. I gotta make room for it.
Now let me ask you one more question.
Okay.
Where do you foresee the saddle pad business? Where do you foresee it to be in the next 5 or 10 years? Are you going to just kind of keep going like you're going, or do you, obviously you're going to get into rugs, maybe bags. I think that would be cool. Wink, wink. Where do you foresee it going? Are you just going to kind of keep going with the flow, or do you have major plans?
Well, I am planning on just kind of keeping on with what we're doing. My 5-year goal. So here recently, I've just kind of been selling online, and I go to like a few local places to set up, but like I haven't been in a position to where I want to travel further than like the East Coast yet, which I want to start doing. So eventually I'd like to have maybe like a trailer with a little living quarters in it to where I can like bring my dog and feel safe while I travel, and start setting up at some bigger events. Like maybe my plan was like once every quarter would be great once I have, the setup that I need, and start showing up in public a little bit more is my goal. And then we'll bring those rugs and maybe some bags. And like I said, I really would love to bring in I'd like to be like your one-stop shop for saddle pads, like English, Western, your work pads, your show pads, ranch pads, like just the mega saddle pad supplier.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But definitely setting up at more events. That's kind of where I would like to put more energy into. I'm kind of I have to do it. So it's just me and girls running this. So, you know, I'm a little scared to travel far alone to places I've never been. And like, you get there in the hotel, like you think you know where you're at, but then you get a hotel and you're like in a really sketchy part of town and you're just like, I don't feel comfortable staying here all weekend, you know? So I'm like, I'm going to try to get maybe like a used living quarters trailer or something to where I can park and camp and then have a safe little place for us wherever we go. Like I'd love to set up at the Congress one year. That's the main goal. But that's like a whole month of living there. So we got to be prepared for that.
Those
So yeah,
dolphins
definitely.
are insane.
Oh my God, I love them. They're wild though. I can't imagine tearing those down or building them.
Well, yeah, I was I was on TikTok. I don't know if you're on TikTok. I'm gonna need to find you. But I was on TikTok and I saw this. These people, they were having a blast and they were going around Congress raiding the stall fronts, like just for fun. They weren't being mean at all. They were just having fun, and it was so cool. And I happened to run across the one that they did of this particular front. I didn't get the name of the place or the horse people or anything like that, but it was legit like this modern white.
I saw that one.
Like, do you know what I'm talking about? It looks like that was outside of an LA home. Like it.
Yes, so modern, but like so. I mean, it's good. It's being talked about. I don't know whose was it, but I remember seeing it, and it was. Yeah, I've never seen one like that ever. I've never seen one like that. It was really cool. I wish I could have like gone. I didn't see inside of it. I just saw the front, but I'd love to see the inside.
Yeah, me too. I don't know if they got any more like TikToks of it or not, but I was like, oh my God, that's insane.
Yes, very different too. Very different, which I like.
Or the money that goes into that. Think about how much money.
Oh my God, I cannot imagine. Like I'm sure it's a good write-off for you, but like I'm thinking about the money, and then like because I set up our booth, just me and my girls, so it's 3 of us, right? But I couldn't imagine having to build something like you'd have to have a whole crew come in there and build.
Oh yeah, you're
and
right.
pay them, and then have a whole crew come and take it down.
Yeah.
What do you do? Don't they do something new every year? So I feel like they like don't even keep the same. I don't know. I haven't been there, but like I feel like what do they do with all that stuff? Do they keep it and reuse it? Do they just throw it away? What do they do?
We have so many questions. We need to speak to somebody.
Who's in charge of this?
we need to know. But you're right, though. I mean, like, you would need to pay people to come in and do, because that's like almost like the construction. It's not like a playpen that you just pop up.
Not just a few racks for your stall. It's like, no, we're building a whole house out here. They're be comfortable.
Actually, you've been to Congress, obviously, haven't you?
Yeah. I've never shown there, but I've been there. No? Oh my gosh. Well, we should go. Let's make a trip.
I know. It would be fun. They say that's why I'm asking you that. They say, is it true that you could spend like a whole day just and not even see all the stall fronts?
Oh, for sure. Like you could spend you can buy the entire, anything you need. Sorry for my dog. At Congress. So you can buy your truck, your trailer, your horse, all the tack, everything. You can buy everything you need from start to finish. So like if you were just buying a horse there, you bring it all home with you. It's unreal. Horse trailer shopping is probably my favorite, just to like go in and like dream about these trailers I can't afford. But the luxury of some of these trailers you get to see, and then the stall fronts, and there's like we rent a golf cart when we go because it's so big and we don't want to walk and carry our bags around, and like it's humongous. It's amazing. Like cowgirl. They call like golf cart. You need something, or like a hoverboard or something to scoot you around. It's kind of like, I think they call NFR like Cowgirl Christmas. I feel like this is like Cowgirl Christmas on the East Coast.
Very true. Well, I was just fixing to say, like, it's amazing. It's pretty impressive that Congress has fought and stayed where they are at in Ohio for as long as they have, because, like, all the other episodes I talked to people, you know, like your centralization of what you think horses is Texas. Like as soon as you say something with horses, your average non-horse person is like, oh, okay, Texas. They don't think about it being in Florida or Ohio or anywhere else. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love it too, because it's like we can get there pretty quickly. It's not that far of a haul for us, which is really nice. We need some stuff on the East Coast too.
Yeah, true. Because Florida, for me and you to get to just the Florida line is like 12 hours, and then it's another 12 hours. It took me 12 hours to get to the top of Florida, and then I remember seeing a sign saying 12 more hours to get to a Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, that would just make you want to cry after you drove that far. At least driving south is so much easier than driving north. That's the only positive of going to Florida, is it's not as bad as having to go north. Like, it's such an easier drive than up north. I don't know. I guess it's like, I don't know what it is. The roads, less tolls, something. Mountains, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I can't hear. Once I get to a certain elevation, my ears are gone. We're popped. We're like, yeah.
Can't hear nothing. That's why.
Well, yeah, exactly.
We'll go to Congress together after this.
I know. I need to visit it. As much as I talk about all this stuff, I need to go somewhere.
We'll get you a booth with your embroidery and stuff. There you go.
Oh my God, no. No. People ask me to do that around, because I've sponsored a bunch of places and stuff like that, and they're like, "Are you going to set up?" And I'm like, "No. Why would I take my machine? I can't do anything right there. It would take too long, you know." But I have thought about, like,
pre-made.
or at least maybe just showing up and being, because a face-to-face interaction is a lot memorable, cooler than like Facebook. Because I've had a lot of issues from social media and just like miscontext and like like misconstrued energy and type stuff. So
yeah,
that's the only.
That's easy to do. Yeah, well, maybe, I don't know if you want to do that, but if that's in your future, we'll just like go up together, get us a booth together, and get this.
We could do that, actually. That would be fun.
That would be pretty cool. Your work is amazing. I looked at your Facebook, and I was like, wow, this is amazing stuff. I think it's something for you to embroider for me.
I know a lot more people than I know, and but it would be cool to be able to do a face-to-face thing. I mean, I think people would get a better, yeah.
I'd have to like find us somewhere to stay for the month, get us something to rent. Oh my God, this dog.
Yeah, like an Airbnb.
Yeah, a nice Airbnb would be awesome. There's got to be one. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. Well, this is kind of like sketch on the outside. I've been hearing a lot of crazy stuff about people's trucks getting broke into.
Yeah, no, we don't want sketchy, because I'm going to carry a pistol. We're not going to do that.
There we go.
We need a pew-pew.
I'll bring one too. We'll be good.
See, well, I know we'll be. I knew you had one.